How's it going on, everyone? Everything is in fact awesome today. I'm Crunchy, and to prepare my video, I have a few things I wanted to say. Real quick, I will be on vacation, so I will take my laptop, but unfortunately it means audio, things like that won't be done. I'll just do like vlogs and stuff. We'll see. Anyway, that's not the point. Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a game that I haven't played on my channel, but I will eventually get to it. I know that it's kind of died down in popularity, but, whatever. It's a fun game. Looking at the community, Markiplier recently did a live stream where he discussed the whole story, and he didn't discuss the story in specifics, but he definitely went through, and he reached on to stuff that I think was very interesting. So, everyone has their own opinion on what Five Nights at Freddy's the story is. So, here's my opinion. The year is 1983. Fredbear's Family Diner is open. There is a child who frequently goes there. This little boy, this child, he likes the animatronics at first. He loves it. He has stuffed animals. He loves it. His brother likes it. His family is obviously enthralled with it. An accident occurs. Fredbear himself crushes the child's head. The child goes through a nightmare scenario based around the animatronics and views all of them as evil. A collective, very evil... My hair is not working today. A collective, extremely evil, vicious groups. And that's where all the teeth, all the tearing, the burning, the creepiness comes from. Now, if you know Five Nights at Freddy's, you will know I'm talking about FNAF 4. So, Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the very, very first in the chronological storyline. Moving on. Next up, Sister Location. The creator himself, Mr. Afton, is in fact Purple Guy. And he makes these brand new animatronics, because the old ones obviously didn't work. So he's like, okay. So the old ones were a little bit crazy. They obviously had a lot of bad things going with them. They had strength to be able to crush a child's head. Let's dumb it down a little. Fredbear Family Diner is closed. So let me make more. He makes more in the form of Circus Funtime Baby, or whatever she's called, Ballora, Funtime Foxy, and Funtime Freddy with the little bunny puppet. So this is extremely interesting, Mr. Afton. Wow, you did it. An accident occurs. At one instance, Mr. Afton's daughter gets killed by Baby and is pulled into Baby. Baby wants to escape because of, obviously, the events of FNAF 4 led to them being, okay, we need to discipline these things more. Maybe disciplining will work. So shocking them in Sister Location is what you do. By the way, spoilers. Anyway, so you do this, and they're like, okay, you put us in a situation where we're getting shocked, and we're being forced to not do anything else but entertain. We want to escape. So we'll kill your daughter. And then this leads him to be like, okay, what happened? I wasn't there. I didn't see my daughter get killed. So he goes through in Sister Location in order to figure out exactly what went wrong and why. An example of this is all the equipment in Sister Location is usable. He knows how to use it. He's told how to use it, but he knows. Basically like this. Example. If you're doing something like defusing a bomb, if you know how to do it, you can do it correctly. Even if someone's telling you, okay, cut the red wire, and you're like, well, duh. But if you don't know what you're doing and someone says, okay, cut the second wire, then you're just like, someone can't think that through. They need learning and teaching, everything that they need to know and or do. So he obviously knows how to work all the equipment. In Night 4, you are put into a spring lock suit, and Mr. Afton knows how to keep it wound so he's safe. Now, let's move on. At the end of FNAF Sister Location, you get sent to the scooping room, where entered which is a collaboration of all of them after they've been scooped. So Baby, Ballora, Freddy, and Foxy. Funtime versions, of course. So they were scooped, and they were put into this collaboration, this huge beast of a thing who just takes a mask off the wall and wears it. It's not supposed to be, but it wears it because it thinks that that is the way. And it needs to know how to escape via a human, i.e. the one who's been helping the whole time. Purple guy, Mr. Afton. Now, keep this in mind. He gets scooped, and Ennard goes into Purple Guy. At the very end of FNAF 4, when Purple Guy walks up and he opens his eyes, it's purple. Now, people have argued that, like, who else has purple eyes? But I think it's just symbolic. Purple eyes. The Purple Guy. Because it wouldn't make any sense for him to walk up and then, like, the mirror gets brightened and he's just all purple. Because that wouldn't make any sense. So, purple eyes, obviously symbolic. Ennard is in Mr. Afton. Now, pan to FNAF 2, 1987. Purple Guy comes back somehow in some way, and he starts messing with all of the animatronics that happened. At some point, an older location fits somewhere between 83. I think it's talking about the location in 83, because it established that obviously these characters existed by then. So, 1987. The Purple Guy is around. The Purple Guy is running it about. He's going crazy. He's Ennard. He goes on a child murdering spree of stuffing kids in suits, just so he can make more of itself. Ennard is trying to create kind of this network. It's like a hive mind. It wants to connect and make multiple. And so, by making more and more and more of itself, it is making it so it can be controlled. It's a part of something. So now we get into kind of the nitty-gritty. After these childs are murdered, the soul, panning all the way back to FNAF 4, the soul of the first child who was crushed goes into Fredbear. So Fredbear is already possessed, taken control of. In the second game, 5 children are murdered. So you have Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, and Freddy. But where does the 5th child come into play? The puppet, of course. The puppet is kind of the spirit holder. The 5th child from FNAF 2 goes into the child. The bite of 87 occurs. We don't know if it was an employee, a child, if an animatronic even caused the bite. Well, granted, we know that for sure, but we don't know all the other details. Pan ahead. FNAF, the first one. You play as Mike Schmidt. It's after the fact. It's after 87. After all of this went down, all this craziness. You go through FNAF 1, yada, 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 bing, bada, boom, you learn some things. FNAF 1 was really all about gameplay and environment. It wasn't really about story. You got a little bit of story details, sure, but anyway. FNAF 1, the store, and FNAF 1 closes. At some point, Purple Guy returns, and Ennard realizes that he has to destroy his creations. He has to remove kind of the animatronics that existed, and just kind of take them out of commission. By doing so, the children view Mr. Afton as the bad guy, and they chase him into a springlock suit. Now, something that Markiplier brought up, but he never went into detail, and yeah, it's okay. It's Markiplier. We don't go to him for theories. We go to him to be a funny man. That's not the point. The point is, in FNAF, when he was chased, Ennard doesn't know how to use the springlock suits. Mr. Afton did. So while Mr. Afton was trapped in the springlock suit in sister location, he knew to keep it wound, keep himself safe. But Ennard didn't. Ennard didn't know to keep it wound up. He didn't know the suit was a failure. He just was like, a suit, protection. Children can't harm me in this suit. So he gets in, he stands up, he laughs, crushed. Mr. Afton and Ennard are now possessed in the Springtrap suit. Five Nights at Freddy's and Fredbear's Family Diner and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is buried for an extremely long time. FNAF 3 comes into play, and FNAF 3 is the end-all and the be-all. There might be story, there might be new games, but from the story as it stands now, FNAF 3 is the end of Five Nights at Freddy's. At the time, we thought this, and when we realized that, as is technically the case, FNAF 4 is technically the first game of the series, and Sister Location takes place in between the second one and the fourth one. This is getting confusing, but let me explain FNAF 3, and then we'll put it in a timeline. FNAF 3 comes into play. You play in the future as some dude. You don't know. Some dude. Well, I'm not here to talk about theories on how it's Mike Schmidt or how it's Jeremy Fitzgerald or whatever. It's none of that. You're a dude. And you're sitting there doing a summer job, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this, do that, yada, yada. And then you run into Springtrap, and you're like, oh crap, Springtrap. So if you go through and play the game normally, you get the bad end, because at the end of the week, Night 5 ends. You stand up, you leave. The children still possess all of the suits. Fredbear, the puppet, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, are all still possessed. They're still in control. Mr. Afton is still trapped in the Springlock suit, and he's all evil and junk. You learn about Mr. Afton being killed by the Springlock suit, yeah, but the suits are still possessed. So, at the very end, if you go through all of the Easter eggs, you free the children from their prisons. All of the suits are now just empty, old shells. Broken down, beat up, abused, gone. And so, now that all the children are put to rest, you go home, and it's good. Now, we're going to do the timeline, and then we're going to do some questions that are still left unanswered. Number 1. So, as it stands, the way it goes in order. FNAF 4, Sister Location. FNAF 2, FNAF 1, FNAF 3. FNAF World does not fit into the canon storyline, as I'm aware. Okay, so now that we know the timeline, and we know all of the details as they go, there are still a lot of questions that are left unanswered. From FNAF 4, it brought up, why? Why did the child constantly go to Fredbear's Family Diner? Why was he eventually frightened? He obviously loved it. He had stuffed animals. He's like, these are my friends. But why did he eventually grow to hate it? I don't know. Can you tell me? Because that is one of the questions from FNAF 4. And I had theorized that Purple Guy was the dad of the thing, but I didn't know that Mr. Afton, all of that. I learned that, and then I was like, okay, whoa. My theory went out the window. Here's my original theory. My original theory was that FNAF 4 took place just a little bit slightly before 87. I thought 83 was just the year they were created, and the accident happened in 87, the bite of 87, Fredbear crushed it. Obviously, they said that there's 2 locations in FNAF 2. I thought there was one location that still used the older animatronics, because you can't dish out animatronics everywhere, so you needed something. So, Fredbear bring Bonnie. Why not? But, pause. Hold up. What we're looking at here is essentially what... Okay, back to my original theory. I'm getting all sidetracked and shit. Holy fuck. Anyway. So, my original theory, Purple Guy has 2 children. A son and a younger son. The younger son is traumatized. Oh, no, wait. Oh my god. I just thought of something. Okay, so it is established you don't go through the entire house in the 4th game in the mini games. You never go through the entire home. So here's my little debauchery, my little itty bitty theory. Mr. Afton is in fact Purple Guy. Mr. Afton marries a woman, and they have 3 children: an older son, a daughter, and a younger son. These 3 exist. Okay, so Purple Guy, as it stood, had a wife and 3 children. We know that there was 2 brothers, but if you go in one room, there's a picture of a flower, there's a bed with pink sheets, and there's a bright, colorful dresser. So it's very much a woman's bedroom. It's obviously not his wife's, it's obviously not his, and it's obviously not the older brother's. Why would it be? It is the daughter's. The daughter's room is that room. So my original theory still technically holds water, and that's crazy. Anyway, so what you are now dealing with is you're dealing with 3 children. An older brother, take him out of the picture real quick. We have a younger brother and a daughter. The younger brother had his head crushed by Fredbear. That was established. And Baby killed the daughter. Now, something that I brought up, and I think about it, I don't know if anyone else has brought up. In FNAF 4, when you play at the very, very end, when Fredbear is talking, he says, there's colored text. Whenever your older brother talks, it's gray text. So, at the very end, when you hear, like, the heart monitor get flatlined, I don't know how else to say it, you hear your older brother say, "Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry." And that's all he says. So, as it stood, the older brother feels remorse for what he did. Very, very much so. Mr. Afton is now down to 1 child. And his wife, we don't know about his wife. Probably Ballora. Ballora fits in there somewhere, I just know it. Anyway, as it stood, his daughter and his youngest son are dead. They're gone. They're out of there. Now, this would explain why they're constantly at Fredbear's. The older brother obviously can't drive. His father created them, so he takes them there. The son has good memories. He's like, "Whoa, this is fun. Dad created something." But he feels this scared. After his accident, he starts to envision everything that happens around him is a nightmare of some kind, and it drives him absolutely insane. And that's why when Fredbear gets possessed and taken over, I'm doing this off camera, I should do this on. When Fredbear gets possessed and taken over, and he starts to control all the other animatronics, same with Innard, he views everything as a nightmare, and that's why all of the animatronics in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 go completely apeshit, is because of Innard and because of Fredbear. One of those two is the major factor here.